Hey everybody. My name is Adam Hale, coming from Tailored Legacy. Talk to you a little bit about our telesales operation, the unique opportunity that is only offered through Tailored Legacy in partnership with Gold Memorial and Lincoln Heritage. And just kind of give you a little bit of background on myself, and then we're going to do an interview with our telesales manager that runs the program for us. Again, my name is Adam Hale, Senior Regional Manager. Been in the industry selling final expense since 2008. Came from a mortgage real estate background and pretty much lost everything. In 2008, I went from making over $500,000 a year to nothing overnight. And was really blessed to kind of find this experience. I found it through one of the managers, was a referral partner of mine that now actually runs the largest final expense organization in the country. And again, I was looking for an opportunity that was recession proof, and looking at now what's going on in the market, there's probably never been another better time to join final expense. And through 2020, what it's taught kind of all of us is there's a unique opportunity in selling over the phone, right? And so for the past 15 years, we've trained agents to go out and door knock and go out and see people. And again, we're a part of the #1 final expense agency in the entire country. We represent Lincoln Heritage, who's the largest producer of final expense life insurance. And so if you're looking for a partner, that's the best in the industry, you've definitely come to the right place. When I started my first month, I was actually the #1 agent in the country. I sold a little over 62 apps, 62 apps that counted for that first month. It was just under 36,000 production. And personally, my first year, I was the highest pro rata agent in the country. Got promoted to a management role, and basically, the first 3 years of my career, I spent by putting people in the car and training them how to door knock and how to get in the houses and make sales. Fast forward, coming up on 15 years, our agency, Tailored Legacy, sold over 135 million, 40, 50, 60 bucks a month at a time per policy. And so we know a thing or two about what it takes to be successful in final expense, and what we can do to help you create a successful career. There's a lot of companies, a lot of opportunities that say they've got the best sales training. They're all these gurus all over the internet, right? But at the end of the day, I've always told people, ask them to show you the numbers, right? Ask them to show you their income, ask them to show you the production, because at the end of the day, we're not just in the business of training, right? We're here, we make our money not selling training courses. We do it teaching people how to earn a great living selling final expense life insurance. And so after COVID, the company switched over and allowed us to start operating selling final expense over the phone. At that point, they kind of had the stance that it was going to be temporary, and we'd all heard that the retention was much worse selling over the phone versus face to face. And so during 2020, the entire company nationwide began allowing agents to sell over the phone, which tons and tons of people had to make that switch. What we learned after a year of selling over the phone was, and especially with Gold Memorial and Tailored Legacy, because we have our own retention departments, people that are continually working on our agents' lapses, that the retention was much better than expected. And so January of 2021, we got the blessing of Lincoln Heritage to basically build out and start a separate telesales division for good. And so just prior to that, we were kind of looking at the numbers in December of 2019. We were kind of gearing up, or even it was actually a little bit before that, right, Dana?
Well, I came to you in August, September of 2020, not 2019.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we started gearing up and basically just kind of seeing the writing on the wall, right? That the persistency was so much better, we're really blessed because being part of the largest agency, what it allows us to do is it allows us to operate in more states than any other IMO with Lincoln Heritage. So currently we are hiring agents that work in Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Florida, Hawaii, Iowa, Idaho, Illinois, Montana, New Mexico, Nevada, Oregon, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wisconsin. And so, if you reside in one of those states or you have your resident license, you're someone that can apply and learn more about the opportunity of working with us. Today, the special guest that we have here is Dana Neeson. And I just wanted to kind of get a little bit of background on her, and then I'll let her kind of take over from there. So you found us, you said it was September, October?
Yes, I found you guys through a Google search after I'd already talked to a couple other companies for final expense. And that was in August or September, before I even got my license.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And I remember walking in this office, talking to you on the phone, talking about the opportunity, and approaching the end of 2020, and was real excited. 14, well, now almost 15 years in the business, but it's still refreshing to find someone that says the right things, whether they're licensed or unlicensed, that has a vision, a desire to win, and definitely got that feeling when I spoke to you. Dana went out, she got licensed. She was very successful I'm not going to say the name of the company, but very successful where she was working at before, doing phone sales. Took a 2-week leave of absence, and she felt good enough about that, about working with Taylor Legacy, with Lincoln Heritage and Gold Memorial, that she quit a job where she would have made 160,000 a year that she had been at for, it was 7 years.
7 years.
And so to me that speaks a lot, right, about the type of people, the type of agent that we're really looking for is people that are willing to bet on themselves, that are willing to burn the boats, so to speak, and that are willing to kind of do what it takes. And Dana's numbers, just completely outstanding, right? My time in the industry, her first year, and again, when she was first starting out, we were testing all kinds of things and trying all kinds of different things, many of them that failed, and she was also helping give feedback and train new agents and do things. But her first year in the industry, she wrote 296,000 in annualized premium, which is pretty much unheard of. It's probably my fault I didn't tell you how close you were to 300, because I'm sure you would have surpassed it.
I honestly, if I would have known that, I probably would have done it.
But not only that, in her first year in the industry, she's helped build, and she built an agency that they wrote just under 1.5 million annualized premium. So to go over 7 figures as an agency in your first 12 months, especially in a new venture, is pretty much unheard of. Again, I've been doing this a long time. There's a lot of people giving advice and stuff. If you're going to listen to somebody, you want to listen to someone like Dana that's actually doing it, right? So over just under 1.5 million the first year. This year to date, she's including pending, she's written over 2.5 million in annualized premium. Absolutely phenomenal. Her first year, even though she was training and helping onboard and do all these things, she earned over 187,000 in gross income. And it's just been a huge force in building and growing this telesales division that we built out. So, Dana, could you kind of walk us through a little bit about your past experience and why you chose to get in the final expense?
Yeah, but thank you for that intro. I'm super excited to be here and continue to grow with you and build this telesales team out, bigger than what we hope it can be. So I came to you with 20 years of telesales experience from 2 careers, one in merchant services and one actually selling leads to real estate agents. And all of that just compounding experience with working at W-2 positions and kind of seeing how it's run from the top down is really given me the foundation and the framework that I needed to kind of pick that up and bring it over here. Because even though everybody is an independent contractor and everyone's 1099, I really do run this team like a business, and I expect the agents to treat it like a job, and we run it that way. So that way it's really efficient, and it's set up so that everybody can maximize the opportunity. And I think that's really one thing that helped with my experience and knowing the systems that we need in order to make this successful. So that's like from like a management perspective. And I had never managed before until I came here. But I think that experience and seeing how it works was really important. And then just being in the trenches, being in the front line for so many years. I've always been in the top 1% everywhere I've ever gone, President's Club every year. And I think a lot of top salespeople have to end up looking back and reflecting on what it is they're actually doing so they can like duplicate that with other agents. And so a combination of just a natural sales ability, a natural desire to want to help people, with the combination of investing in additional sales training to kind of make that, to lay that framework in a more sophisticated way.
Okay. And, being that you looked at a lot of other companies and, you were, trying to find the right opportunity that would fit for you, what was the reason that you decided to come work with me and with Taylor Legacy specifically?
Well, it really was you, Adam. I mean, you are the reason that I'm here. You were the only one that shared the vision that I had for a telesales team. I mean, everywhere I went and everyone I talked to, which is all the same companies that everybody else is looking at, pretty much everyone just wanted me to do it myself. And coming from a W-2 job and never being in final expense before, I really didn't have the confidence to invest in that on my own and build an agency when I had never managed before. I had never been in final expense before. I didn't even have never sold it before. So I really needed a partner to believe in just my sales ability and what I can bring to the table, and kind of run with it from there. And you were it. You were the only one.
And it's exciting, right? Whenever, like for me, I've always kind of told all of my managers, right? Whenever when you're leading by example, I genuinely believe that you're going to attract people that have the same desires, same goals, and into your agency and into your business. And so it's always exciting to find somebody that that not only has those goals and those ambitions, but that's willing to do the work. I mean, 99% of the time, that's like the missing link that a lot of agents don't. It's easy to say, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and then not show up, right? And and even like when you first came on, I know that you were like, hey, this is how I'm going to work. This is what I can do, and I think because you're a mom of 3 kids, right? 2 kids. Sorry, I'm 3 kids.
And a husband, so 3.
But you said, hey, I'm going to be able to run a specific schedule. I mean, I can't remember the exact time commitment. What was it that you initially told me?
That well, to give a little framework to why this was even brought up in the first place is because I attended your like Zoom introductory to your company, and you were basically telling everyone that if you're not willing to work 50 hours a week and drive 200-mile radius of your home, don't even bother applying.
Yeah.
But I still did. And I said, I'm not going in the field. And why aren't we doing telesales? And here's what I can commit to, which was basically 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. But I knew with my skill set that as long as I knew the what and the how, I just needed the opportunity, and I could show you that I could do it. And so that's what it was. I mean, it's evolved since then.
Yeah.
When I first started, that was all I was wanting to do.
Yeah. So, even my wife, she's been in the business as well, alongside me this whole time. And, I've got a lot of managers that work for me, and she's like, Dana's one of the few that has the consistent work ethic, that I have, right? That you do it, and obviously part of the reason has to be, there has to be a love for the business, a love for the process, right? In order to commit the time that we're putting in now. Because I know now, what would you say you're roughly doing? What kind of hours per week do you think that you're committing to doing telesales?
I mean, now I'm working 12-hour days, easy.
Yeah.
8 hours would feel like a vacation.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot more responsibility, and it's not just me, it's a whole team. And you just hit it right on the head. I have an immense passion and love for what we're doing and what we've built and who we're supporting. And I feel like I have just a responsibility to help people excel and succeed here. So it doesn't really feel like work. There's stressful days and there's great days, but the 12 hours is something I never thought in a million years that I would be doing, but it is what it is. But I'm not working weekends still.
Yeah. So what is it that kind of motivates you to put in that time, or what's like your biggest motivators, I guess?
Today, my biggest motivator is coaching the agents and watching them implement what I'm teaching them, and watching their excitement to exceed and excel. By far, that's probably my biggest motivating factor, is watching agents who thought they were going to fail out of the business and then come here and get the support that they were looking for, and can write 10,000 a week in production.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. And it's, if you guys haven't, we'll have a link below, and I think Dana can post in the video as well. Her YouTube channel, phenomenal. So, no matter where you're at in the country, no matter your skill set level, how long you've been in the industry, follow her page, click the notifications. She puts out tons and tons of free training content. Again, there's a lot of people out there selling courses. I've bought them all. Majority of them are terrible. and I'll be honest, none of them give the in-depth tips and skills and things that are necessary to be able to improve your business, right? How to actually make adjustments in your sales process, like Dana will give you for free. So again, yeah, definitely subscribe to her, check that out. You won't be disappointed. Tons and tons of invaluable content that she's given out for free. And so definitely want to do that. Now, what would you say like a typical day should look like, or a typical week for an agent that's going to be successful here? What would that look like?
Well, I think we first need to define the definition of successful, because that can be different for everybody. And so my definition of successful is someone that's doing 10,000 a week in production. But I've talked to a lot of people where their definition of successful is half that. Yeah. And so I think depending on what your goals are will determine what activity level should be. So if we just take my definition of successful, which is 10,000 in production, I think you should be, logged in, ready to go at 7 a.m. And I think you shouldn't be done with your day until 5:30 p.m. I think that's really the best hours. That's when we provide our live transfers. That's where all the activity happens. And so there's no reason why you should come in a couple hours after the day starts and leave a couple hours before the day ends. You're missing out on a lot of really great opportunity there. I'd say weekends are still optional. One of the things that I think is really unfortunate is when new agents get into the business and they're told by their upline that they have to work 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, and get their teeth kicked in for the first year. And that advice comes from the fact that they're just working the numbers instead of really coaching their agents to maximize the leads they do get, so they don't have to put in that crazy amount of time and have no work-life balance.
100%. And one of the things too that I wanted to mention, for the first time ever, we're actually offering part-time, right? So we are looking for good salespeople. We still have standards that you have to adhere to, right? Because we're going to invest a lot of time, energy, and money into helping those agents be successful. And I think that a huge benefit to being a part of your team is that the extra training, extra mile that you're continually doing and offering to agents. So whether it is someone that's working 20 hours a week or someone that's working 60 hours a week, no matter what, you're equipping them with the tools that they can maximize their time when they are working, right? So that they
Right.
can hit whatever those target goals are. And, so, again, whether you're one of the people, for us, for sure, I would say that, the first 90 days, especially is the most crucial and important to your success, especially in an industry that has such a high failure rate. And part of that in that first 90 days is whatever time commitment you can do to try and put in as absolutely as many hours as possible, right? But also to be a sponge, right? Come in here as a blank slate. I don't care if you've been in the industry for 10 years or 30 years. Something that helped me, and I know that I saw it in you, is that you were coachable from the beginning. You were open to any suggestions and trying any things that I asked you to do. And that's any successful agent that I personally worked with since starting Final Expense has had that quality, right? They're willing to be coached. They're willing to plug in and say, look, I'm here because I want to be successful. And there's nothing that you or I are going to ask an agent that we haven't personally done, right? Or and that we're not willing to do. But that's not going to maximize their success, right? We want to see them because the more successful they are, the more successful we all are. And so I think that's fantastic. What would you say are maybe three or four main key points for an agent to be successful with our opportunity and with Taylor Legacy?
Well, I definitely want to speak to what you just said about willing to be coachable. I think it's even more important for agents who have sold Final Expense before over the ones that haven't,
yes,
to be coachable, because you are going to come in most likely with some bad habits that you're going to have to correct and fix, because the way that I train people how to sell Final Expense is a little bit different than how you're probably used to. So I think being coachable and being open to another way is going to be really important, because there's, unfortunately, there's a reason why you're looking to make a move.
100%.
Right? If you were happy and successful where you were, then you wouldn't be knocking on someone else's door looking for another opportunity. So, think about that for a second. But so here, some of the things that you also need to consider to be successful is you want to maximize your opportunity. So you want to try to be licensed in as close to or all 17 states that we're in. You want to be able to take any lead at any time and not limit your scope. So I think that's really important to consider. I would say your time and treating it like a job. You have to say, no matter what happens during the day, I'm going to start my day here. I'm going to end my day here. And it doesn't matter if I get 3 sales in the first couple hours of the day, or if I get nothing until the very end of the day. That consistency with your schedule has to remain the same. And that goes back to treating it like a job. Another thing that I think is important to continue success is to continue to come to coaching. So a lot of agents tend to shoot real high out of the gates, and then they plateau, and then they start to sink. And if you don't have someone, if you don't have someone that's going to be there to listen to your calls with you and to say, hey, I've noticed this is what's happening, we need to correct it so we can get you back on track. That's a real easy way for someone to just exit the business because they stopped doing what worked for them in the first place. So coaching is really, really, really important. In fact, I just had a coaching call this morning with someone who is newer, was doing phenomenal for the first couple of weeks, probably 7,000, 8,000 a week. And all of a sudden, numbers started to drop. And we listened to this agent's calls today, and immediately I noticed a huge change that I was able to point out to the agent, hey, you stopped practicing this, this, and this. And all of a sudden that clicked. And the very next call that they got wrote a sale.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal. And it's, that right there alone, seeing you go the extra mile, again, there's a lot of companies out there that really, like you said, they're throwing agents against the wall and seeing who sticks, and
Yep.
Going that extra mile to take the time to listen to the calls, to coach the agents, to offer that, offer your time, throughout the week, every single week, again, because we understand that everybody starts at a different point. Everybody's going to be at a different, have a different level of experience. And it doesn't matter, if you're brand new or you've got 20 years of experience, there's a reason, you've been so successful, in such a short period of time. And I know I was looking back, because I hear a lot about conversions and things, and the last conversion report that I pulled for Dana, on conversations that she had that were over 5 minutes long, she was converting 79% closing ratio. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it, right?
That's awesome.
And yeah, and so and for people that say you can't do as well over the phone, that you have to door knock, that's not true either, right? You got to find what's the right fit for you. If you enjoy door knocking, it's a fantastic way. It's a great way to make an income. Our agency, still writes about $1 million a month face to face. And we're growing. What did we finish at this past month for telesales?
I think we were at 240 something.
Yeah, so 240 something. You got 265 pending and rollover business. It's really about finding what's the best fit for you. But at the end of the day, understanding there are no shortcuts, right? There's no get rich quick. I've heard people say this is a get rich slow business. You have to be willing to put in the time. You have to be willing to push through the times when you feel like quitting and giving up. And you have to be willing to ask for help and willing to implement and understand that, if Dana's asking you to do something, it's because it's going to make you more money, right? It's going to help you be more successful. And kind of, based on that, what would be some of the main reasons that you've experienced, in training and working with new agents, that you've seen that people are what's the main reasons they fail typically?
Well, that's very obvious. The first one is they have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They're not putting in a lot of time. So they're not getting a lot of practice and repetition. Also, my favorite word I like to use with the team is they go rogue. And what I mean by that is they just think they know better and don't follow the script, don't follow the process, and don't convert. And so they start getting really frustrated with that. They don't come to coaching to get it corrected, won't take feedback, and that's just an inevitable loss. So it's not that hard to be successful in this business if you just follow the roadmap, right? Like, who wants to reinvent the wheel when it's already built?
Someone that's going to fail. I guess someone that doesn't want to make money.
But I do want to speak real quick to the 90-day ramp up thing that you had said, because I think that's important to touch on a little bit more than just putting in a lot of time. I think conceptually people need to understand that the first few weeks that you get into a new system, there's a learning curve there. And that learning curve with just putting everything together that we teach is going to prevent you from selling maybe a significant amount of policies when you first start. But then a lot of policies that you write towards the end of the month, because a lot of our clientele are living on Social Security or disability, they don't get paid, right, until like the third of the month of the following month. So a lot of your business, you won't get paid on until the next month. And so that ramp up is really important to make sure that you're mentally prepared to know that once you get through that, you're going to enter the first of the next month with already, hopefully $10,000 to $15,000 of production that you can count on, and everything else you're writing is just cherry on the top.
100%. And and what would you say is like an ideal agent that's a good fit for our opportunity? Like if you could say, hey, this is someone that's out there, maybe or maybe an agent that's watching this that's thinking about giving up on the business, right? I'm sure I know you hear it every day. I hear it every day of people that have worked for XYZ company, this company or that company, and there's a lot of companies out there that make promises or overpromise and underdeliver. And for those agents or maybe someone that's wondering, am I a good fit for telesales with Taylor Legacy? What would you say would be like that ideal agent that if they come in that you would have a great likelihood of success?
Well, first of all, I think that you have to be okay with being at your desk all day long, right? You have to have that muscle memory of repetition and making hundreds of calls with potentially having a low answer rate and being okay with that. because that is telesales, right? You are making more output than you're getting back, because answer rates are generally low. So having that mentality, and then also knowing, like, to your core, that there is no such thing as someone who filled out a lead form for more information, and now they're just waiting by their phone for you to call them. Like, oh, I'm so excited. You're calling me. I can't wait for you to pitch to me now so I can give you my money. And I think a lot of agents are hopping from place to place looking for the next best thing because they just want low-hanging fruit, right? They just want the people that are excited to hear from them. And in the world of telesales, it doesn't matter what the industry is, that simply doesn't exist, right? And so I think that an ideal person for me is someone that like gets that. And then from there is coachable on how to overcome false objections, how to get people to engage with you. Once you get through that hurdle, and then being able to take them through the entire process into an application. But I think the mentality of who I need coming into this just needs to know the reality of what telesales is, regardless of the industry, and being okay with it.
Yeah, and it's an understanding that it's a skill, right? A lot of people just think they, like you said, they want the lay downs.
Right.
Whether you're working in the field face to face, or even in a different industry, the reality is that it doesn't matter if you pay $100 for a lead. That's not going to be the case. You're going to get those laydowns every now and then, but the majority of your sales, and if you're going to make it in the long term, you have to be willing to invest the time and energy to sharpen your skills, so that it just becomes an equation, right? Once you get the process down, then it's just a matter of putting in the work and understanding that, you might have a day where you blank, or you might have this or that. And we've been blessed, typically out of, for the largest IMO, typically 6 to 7 of the top 10 work in our agency with Taylor Legacy. And we've had the #1 agent, I think, now for 7 years. And the one commonality in all of those agents, no matter if it's face-to-face or field, they view and run this like a business. They view it as an equation that if I do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to get this result. I know how many sales I'm going to get. Now, you might have a bad week, but if you have the process down, you should never have a bad month, right? Like if you understand what it takes, and learn this process to where you own it 110%. It's not a difficult sales process. To me, this is the easiest thing I've ever sold. But it's a grind. It's hard work. You got to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. And again, be open to constructive criticism, because a lot of people turtle up, and a lot of people, they get their feelings hurt, right? And it's like, look, Dana would be telling you these things, unless it was going to help you improve your numbers. And at the end of the day, this is a business, and we all are here to make money. We're all here to be successful. But we know what works, and there's a reason that you're putting up the numbers you are, is because you have a set process that's proven and works every time people work that process, right?
Now we should, speak to the fact that the type of culture that I'm looking to create with this team means that I don't actually accept everybody that comes through the door and applies and wants to be on this team. I'm looking for, like you said, someone who's coachable, but I'm really looking for excellence. I'm looking for this team to be a world-class telesales team for final expense, where we are like sales ninjas. And once you go through our virtual training, you actually have to do a role play with me. You have to pass that role play. Mm-hmm. And I would still say to this day, even though I'm preparing people for the fact that you may not pass, I probably still don't pass about 30%. And that's because people show up not prepared. They show up, they've never role played the script until they get on the phone with me. They don't really understand how our application systems work. And I'm certainly not looking to just throw a bunch of bodies to the wall and seeing who sticks. In fact, it's the exact opposite of that. And one of the things I do like to say to the team all the time is, I am not going to take your career more serious than you.
Yeah, that's
And you have
powerful.
to step up to the plate. If you want to be on this team and you want to stay on this team, you got to show up and you got to put in the work and you have to accept the coaching that I'm offering and you have to implement it. And I guarantee you, you will see results, because the one thing that I will always say is I will not let you fail. If you're going to show up and put in the work, then I'm going to meet you halfway.
That's awesome. And that's always kind of been my philosophy as well, right? I'll meet any person 100% of the way, right? Whatever time and commitment level they're putting in, I'm gonna match that. I'm gonna give them that same amount of help and be there for them. If you're someone that enters the witness protection program, guess what? You're not going to make it here for very long. And it's something that because you've done so many role plays. What would you say, like, if you get someone that's worked really hard, like maybe they don't have, a lot of telesales experience, or maybe no telesales experience, maybe they should have regular sales experience. But if they come in and you've seen that they really tried hard to learn the script, and even though they're not, they're green, so to say, right, to Steven sales, if they really make an effort, but maybe it's not that great, what do you typically do at that point?
So I'm glad you brought that up, because I do want to make it clear that I don't ever expect perfection on a role play. What I'm looking for is how prepared someone was, how they present the information, that they're comfortable with it, and how bad they want it. You can really hear that. I chat with people for the first few minutes before we get started, and I can pretty much tell in the first 5 minutes whether or not this person's going to be a good fit for this team. And depending on how they do, we'll determine how far into the role play I'll actually get. But I will definitely 100% onboard people who are really nervous, who maybe don't role play well, but are really serious about the opportunity. They say all the right things. They want to put in the work and the time. I will 1,000,000% give those people a shot, every time.
That's awesome. And so if someone, if someone, let's say you didn't have the perfect role play, and you don't pass them, are you giving people a second opportunity a lot of times, or are you just telling them they're done?
It depends. So to be transparent, it depends. Sometimes I'll say, I'm sorry, but you're not a good fit for this team. Can I recommend a field area manager to take you out under their wing? I think you might have more success that way. Yeah, there have been a big handful of times where I will suggest that people go back and practice and reschedule and come back for a second role play. And I'll tell you, 90% of those people never show up again.
So they're just bailing after you give them a second opportunity?
Yep. And so what I've thought about doing, which I'm not, because it would take too much time, but I've thought about having everybody that comes in tell them that they need more work to reschedule, and then I'll see who's really taking it serious.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too for agents to understand is, what we're doing at Taylor Legacy specifically, and what we've invested. I've personally invested over $2 million into building out and putting systems in place. A big thing for us was, like you said earlier, when you came and you were looking at opportunity, is most other companies that are offering telesales are here, buy leads, pick up the phone or pay for this dialing system, right? Here's a dialing system, here's a lead company.
Go to YouTube.
Yeah. And
go to YouTube, watch some videos.
Exactly. And hit the phones and just the short period of time that we've been doing telesales, we've seen that majority of people that doesn't work for well, right? That they burn through the leads, they get a sour taste in their mouth. They say the lead vendor is bad, the company's bad, this, that, and the other. Whereas they just maybe weren't in the right opportunity. And so for us, there's nobody at Lincoln Heritage or anywhere else that's doing anything exactly the way that we're doing it, because again, we built this out with a specific vision, with a specific purpose in mind, to have a system where agents can come in, plug in, and from day one, start making sales, start making money. Right? It doesn't take 90 days to make money. how many times have you had an agent come in and have success their first week? Is that something that typically happens where you're
Yeah.
seeing agents coming in?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say the first week someone onboards, that's like a real learning curve because there's a lot to take in, but they can absolutely still have sales that week. It's typically the second week where a brand new agent who gets it, who's put in the time and can take off. You could sell 10,000 in your second week. Absolutely.
And for people too that are asking or looking to, wanting to know what kind of time frames, most of the time, Lincoln Heritage, as long as you don't have anything in your background or anything that holds up your contracting process, it usually takes about it could be anywhere from 5 to 7 business days for your agent number to process. Sometimes it's faster than that. Again, as long as it comes back in your background, you don't have any vector information or owning money, anything like that. If you do have things, let's say you've got a bankruptcy or maybe your credit's not that great, or let's say you do have a vector. If you do have a vector, the company wants to see that you've worked out a payment arrangement with that company in order to be considered to work with Lincoln Heritage. Otherwise, they won't process it. If you have listed an insurance company in a bankruptcy, I'm not aware of any companies, or at least Lincoln Heritage won't contract with that at that point. But pretty much everybody else, even if let's say you had something happen, criminal, like have a misdemeanor or something on your record, as long as it's not like fraud related or things like that, most of the time we can get those things pushed through if we feel you're a good fit for the opportunity. It's case by case, and we'll review those individually. Those things could they will slow up the contracting process if any of those things appear. But if not, generally, 5 to 7 business days. Once you submit the contract, within 5 to 7 business days, you'll have your agent number. In that time, we'll send your online training, which is about 3 to 4 hours of material. And so you're learning about the e-application process, the product that we offer. A huge benefit to what we do is if you're selling final expense or you've sold final expense in the past, one of the easiest applications to submit and process. It's a 12-question health question application. The only time we can't insure somebody is if they're terminally ill, hospitalized, incarcerated, in a care facility, and HIV or AIDS. Outside of that, pretty much everybody else we can insure, age 0 to 85. So pretty much everybody is a prospect. Once you've completed your online training, I always tell people, take a couple days, write out the script, write out some main bullet points. And then when you have your agent number, you're going to book a role play with Dana. And like she said, she's not looking for perfection, but if you're not prepared and you don't take this seriously, we're not going to give you the opportunity. We're not going to just give it to you, right? So we want people that take this serious, take it like an actual career, not someone that's just going to come in and try and skate through, because that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen with this opportunity.
I would almost tell people to look at it too, kind of like an audition. Is people who I give second chances to, I'll say, look, you have to look at this script as if you are going to get a part in a show or a movie. You have to come to the directors of that movie authentic, as if you were the character in that play. I mean, do you think if you would go to that director and sit there with the script and read it like a robot and can you imagine this and that, they're not going to give you the part, right? You have to come to the audition prepared and sound authentic, and you have to believe in what we're offering these clients is truly going to benefit them and their families. And if you truly believe that, it will show.
100%. And let's, before we kind of wrap this up, let's also talk about a little bit about, kind of a comparison for agents. Maybe they don't have a lot of money. If you were like me, I went from a 780 credit score to probably a 400 when I started here. So again, Lincoln Heritage is pretty liberal in their letting agents get appointed. When I 2008 market crash happened. But I didn't have a lot of money, right? And part of the factors for me choosing Lincoln Heritage was number one, I didn't know anything about final expense, but I did know, and I learned what taught me success in the real estate and mortgage industry was my mentor there was, said it was real simple. We'll find out who's making the most amount of money and duplicate what they're doing, right? So it doesn't matter what your other experiences are. When I came in, I made a decision. It was, really hard because literally I felt like my family was starving to, one, offer, show a house or do a loan or this or that. But I made a decision to burn the boats, to go all in day one, right? And I said, I'm not going to write any more loans. I'm not going to show any more houses. This is it. And when you take this opportunity, my best advice would be burn the boats, eliminate the excuses to where failure is not an option, right? For me, it was not, there wasn't, is there a way, or is this the right company? Is this opportunity to work? Once I made a decision that I'll move forward here, I went 120%. I said, I'm going to go out there. If I fail, the only reason I'm going to fail is because, if failure happens, it's not going to be based on my effort and energy that I put in. And then I'm going to take everything that was taught to me. I'm going to be a sponge to the top income earners in the industry, or in here with Lincoln Heritage. And I'm just going to duplicate their process, and I'm going to outwork everybody, right? So if you take that mentality, it will help your success. The lead financing was a huge thing for me because I had no money in spend in marketing when I started. And so that's what's great about this, the telesales thing that we offer is there's no cost. And so can you maybe talk a little bit about what it looks like? I mean, outside of the agents, maybe talk a little bit about the bonus program, what that looks like. Talk about the leads and our in-house transfers, and also TCPA compliance, because again, a lot of these other companies that are throwing people to the wolves. Had a conversation with an agent, matter of fact, yesterday. They said, hey, I'm using this robo text thing, app or whatever, that I'm going to blast all these, I'm blasting my leads with this text thing. And I said, you're going to get in trouble, right? Don't do that. That's, you may get away with it for a little while, but at some point, because they're not TCPA compliant, you don't have an opt-in for your leads. You will get in a lot of trouble. You may lose your license, you'll end up with fines, you can get sued. There's a lot of things that can happen. And so we eliminate that worry for our agents. So
one thing you just said, just because I don't want people to hang on to that, you had said lead financing was a really big help for you when you first started. So that just is for field sales.
Correct.
Right. As it relates to telesales, there is no lead financing. You'll never pay for leads here. So it's unlimited free leads for outbound. It's unlimited free leads for live transfers. Currently, we're generating roughly about 200 live transfers a day. And the team size is roughly about 30, 40 agents. So as we continue to grow, the amount of transfers and leads that we're generating are just going to organically grow with it. But in addition to the compensation, which is reduced, right, when you're on a free lead program, so instead of 100%, you're at a 50% here. We do offer an opportunity for agents to earn up to $1,750 a week in bonuses, and that equates to $7,000 a month. And you can earn that based on your production. You can earn that based on your talk time, which we track. And you can earn that based on your conversion rates, which we calculate as far as a cost per sale. So there's multiple ways you can earn bonuses. Sometimes we even offer weekend bonuses where you can earn above and beyond the $1,750. In fact, we just had a brand new agent last week who just finished her third week, maxed out every tier bonus and got a Saturday bonus for doing a self-recording, walked away with $1,800 in bonuses, which is the most any agent has ever walked away with in 1 week.
That's awesome. That's exciting. And another thing, one thing that we don't offer too as well is we don't offer renewals, and agents ask us about that all the time. Typically on final expense, a lot of times your renewals are only going to be a couple percent. So even if you're selling 20 or 30,000 a month, if you look at the comparison of, a couple percent of a renewal versus the potential of earning 7,000 a month, you can earn a lot more money on the bonus, right? If you max those bonuses out and if you leverage the systems we have in place correctly. So it can actually be a benefit. And the reason we do it.
Now money.
Huh?
Now money.
Yeah.
It's not money in a year from now based on the production you wrote.
Yeah.
And how much of that actually sticks.
Yeah.
Right. And how much of that was checking accounts? Like there's all these different variables where really, renewals is such a smokescreen in your first, second year that really the people that make the most amount of money on renewals are the owners, right?
Yeah, 100%. And it's because of the volume, right?
Effort.
Well, and when I first started here, that's what, the agency owner that runs our company, He said it's not that he's making a bunch of money. It might be 50 cents,
Yeah.
a dollar here, a dollar there, right? He's like, but it's on, we're selling thousands and thousands of policies. I mean, last month, Taylor Legacy, we sold 1,500 policies. And so it's that it compounds, but like for the normal agent, if you're looking at the difference in, up to 7,000 a month, and again, it's, if you're doing the things that Dana's going to teach you, majority of that bonus comes off of talk time. And a lot of talk time, if you're licensed in enough states, we recommend a minimum of at least 5. It's not hard. It's based on 35 hours of talk time. It's not hard to hit. And it's usually equates to what, maybe 80%. You think so? If someone talks 100 hours just in a, 2 weeks or whatever, they'd have 80 hours of talk time. Does that seem fair?
If you are licensed in enough states, right? Because the talk times comes from connecting with people on the phone and being able to take live transfers. And if you're pigeonholing yourself into a percentage of the opportunity where you're stuck making mostly outbound calls, you could put in an 8-hour day and only get 2 hours of talk time. Yeah. Right. Compared to someone who's licensed in more than 5 states can put in an 8-hour day and get 6 hours of talk time. So it all depends on what you want the experience to be like and putting yourself in a position to be able to get those bonuses.
Well, and we had it as an example. We had a new agent that came in, and he'd worked for another agency. We won't say who they are. They're high comp or offered off. They say like some of the highest comp in the industry. And didn't do well. I didn't have a good experience, but came over, and I think he said did he pay for all of his states up front?
Yes. Yes.
So he came in, paid for all 17 right out of the gate,
and was broke, before he got here, and really just didn't think this business was going to be for him. And just because of me and the opportunity we have, just took a leap of faith and decided, to believe what I was saying and invested in all 17. And he's doing very well.
What was his biggest month? We won't say who he is, but.
Well, not that posted. I got to look at what posted.
But with posted and everything.
Wrote in total, it was 56,000.
56,000 in production. That's phenomenal. And
for someone who was going to just exit the business altogether because this person was basically being set up for failure from the beginning. And I think that is why the statistic of 92% of agents fail in their first year is because they're not set up for success. Yeah,
agreed. So, maybe kind of, lastly, before we move on to that, what would you say if, let's say, someone doesn't, but they have this sales experience, they're excited about the opportunity, maybe they are dead broke, maybe they only have, 1 or 2 states. What expectation is fair for them to come in if they can't pay for the states or they can't find a way to pick up, 3 to 5 extra states? What should they expect, and it should be a reality initially? Because we don't want to set a smoke, or offer them something that's not realistic.
Correct. I mean, you should expect to come in and make a minimum of 300 dials a day, minimum. And you got to work the numbers because you're not going to be getting, very many live transfer opportunities because, even though we're generating live transfers in your 2 states, you're competing with 40 other agents that are licensed in those states too, to get the same opportunity. So you have to come in, you have to work 10 times harder than everybody else. But what I'm going to be paying attention to are the quality of the conversations that you are able to have. And if I'm hearing that you're putting in 110% effort, that you are converting the opportunities that you are getting, even if it's small, Adam and I are the first to say, we'll step up and we'll help you get licensed in additional states if you're doing everything right, because we want people to succeed here and we don't want the odds stacked against you. And, but again, you got to meet us halfway.
100%. But if they, again, like they have if they have the work ethic and attitude, that's that's what we're asking people to come in, right? That the right attitude, be positive, go in there, grind it out. If you only have 1 or 2 states, and we'll do what we can. We'll help you on our end to do everything we can to pay for states, do whatever is necessary to help you succeed.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I know you got to run. We're already ran over time here, but anything you want to finish with, or anything that you might want to say?
Well, we're heading into our 3rd year, right? I'm super excited for what's to come. We have a lot of really big goals or things that I want to, continue to accomplish this year to help the agents, get more business, be more successful. I'm so excited that I have, that I'm blessed enough to be here with you and to grow this thing from the ground up. And I'm excited for anyone else that wants to give it a shot and to contact us to learn more. And we're happy to have a conversation and see if we're a good fit.
100%, 100%. We'll put some links. Again, check out Dana's YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I haven't put out content in a while, but we're getting there. We're working on it. Also, we'll list the states as well. You do have to have a resident state. If you're in Florida or Texas, unfortunately, there's tight areas, so it'll be based on where your zip code is. So, apply to learn more, and we'll check and see if you're not in those areas. We'll do our best to hook you up with somebody that will be a good fit, something that's comparable. Other than that, I appreciate you, Dana. Again, blessed to have you as part of the team. It's exciting to work with someone that has such a fire. And in my opinion, you're the best of the best when it comes to final expense. There is no better telesales manager or team out there. So I'm excited to see what your future holds. And
Thank you.
we're going to have an awesome third year.
Well, I couldn't do it without you.
Hey, we'll keep grinding.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. All right. You have a good one.
Bye.